involved in the genocidal killing of Nigerians. That's what we're talking about now. It was Buhari who instituted the
it's a pity we're having this disruption in the connection. I'm sure backend guys will work on that actually. And that's a very good question because it's anybody can make a claim actually. But then and everybody's opinion is valid, but then we speak to fact and you know, evidence-based analysis, just like you have asked as well. We hope to have them back, you know, to substantiate some of these claims, all right, by him. And now it is not just about the man. You know, maybe some would say there is a need for closure, actually, maybe on the family part, who feels there are so many things written about their father that possibly they have evidence-based pushback that you said to, that might be true, but that's an account of the Buharis as being put in a book authored by Dr. Charles Oboli. But then, in this particular biography, at least one name that has been repeatedly mentioned is Aisha Buhari. I mean, which many persons believe, okay, maybe you caught her some slack, that there was a time, in fact, there were videos, I remember, of a particular hidden recording that where she had the back and forth with a particular person at the villa, one of those residences, that she was saying, where's the key? Who locked this room? And one will wonder, even when you don't need to be a first lady, who locks a room against the wife in the house? Not the wife, that's the mother of the house. The first lady of any home, that's the wife of, you know, the head of the home, the husband. And in this case, the first lady. And she was saying, who locked this room? And somebody made that video. I remember some person said at the time, you will see that there was some, you know, strange things going on. Yeah. Because, yes, irrespective of she being the first lady or whoever she was, with that status, you will have, I mean, it doesn't have to be physical, there will be quarrel, there will be disagreement.
Do the work.
All right. Dr. Kach, are you here with us now? Dr. Kach? All right. When he's back, we'll know. And one will say the fact that she was a first lady doesn't mean she can't have argument or disagreement. And some will say, who dare do such? And, you know, who even recorded that particular thing? Who would do that in a sensitive place like the villa? That means somebody was interested in publicizing private affairs. And one can easily infer that all wasn't well in that place. Not long after that, she was frequenting Dubai and coming months later. She left for almost a year, remember. She wasn't at the villa. State House event, she wasn't there. Only the husband was there at that time. Maybe some might say, let's connect the dots. That woman, her entire home was taken over because now whatever is being said, they said the man became rather, that's Muhammadu Buhari, paranoid at some point because she felt his office was bugged and, you know, he had to resort to writing letters to pass messages. But then the danger of a single narrative, that is from an account. Now, but I think Dr. Kach said something earlier where he said, very soon there will be rebuttals, definitely, of names that were mentioned. Some people that will say, count me out. It wasn't me, it was somebody. And, you know, that is why documentation is proper. And I'm sure we've not had the last of it, actually. Not just in verbal rebuttal, there will still be other biographies. Some people will say, I didn't want to talk before. Now, maybe that will be given another name to say, this is my account. You remember, whenever people leave the villa, they usually have something to talk about. And whenever they leave office, rather, not just the villa, there was the accidental public servant by Nasir El-Rufai. You know, there was a book written by Segun Adeniyi after he left as the spokesman of Goodluck Jonathan. The spokespersons of Buhari have written theirs. Maybe they will still write more in all of those things. Dr. Kach, are you here with us?
And then talking about several things. I mean, Dr. Katz said something about Tinubu's...
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are with you. Can you hear us now? Dr. Kaj,
listen to what I'm telling you.
All
what
right.
you're seeing now is it. Yes, I'm with you.
Go ahead.
You are now at the beginning of denials. You are at the beginning of denials. We have now uncovered very, very serious problem of genocidal jihad. We don't know who gave instructions for this jihad, but of course, the jihad is the reason why our country is now all over the world for the very, very bad reasons. Now, who gave the instruction? Who do you think could have given instructions to the army to look the other way? Because the army, they're looking the other way is the reason why the militias were successful.
But are we sure the army is actually formidable. Looking the other way?
The militias are not.
Can we say emphatically that the army is looking the other way?
Yes.
From their account?
Yes, the army looked the other way. Yes, the army looked the other way. That was why a ragtag militia were busy committing ethnic cleansings in Plateau, in Kaduna, in Benue, and in Taraba. If the army didn't look the other way, what you've seen in the past 2 weeks will have been the same. The minute they have now ordered Christopher Musa, go and deal with these people. Check around the country, you will see that there is a turnaround. Things are changing. This is the army has always been this way. It's always been that strong. It was because of Buhari's instruction of do not engage. The do not engage doctrine destroyed our security services. Take that from me. The other day I saw somebody on your station telling me, trying to argue with me, and that never happened. Then of course denials will come. But after the Americans came and went to Benue State and saw things for their eyes, up to 600,000 Nigerians in one IDP camp. And yet we have a government. And yet land grabbers are living on their homes and their ancestral lands. So who do you want to blame? So you're now seeing people set the ground for shifting blames. What are we going to do? If they say there's cabal, Tinubu has capacity to dig to know who are the cabal members. If they say there were signature stamps, Tinubu has capacity to dig to know who were the operators and holders of the signature stamp. Let's not think that this is just one thing that happened in one era and so we can forget it. No, government is a continuum, and the current administration have the capacity to dig into the immediate past to find out the truth if they truly desire the truth. And that's my word.
Dr. Kaj, you were about to give us proof or to actually give facts to the claims that you made about the president having been complicit in some of those things, the incidences that happened while he was in power.
Exactly. And I'll tell you that when I once confronted the army chief, what he told me is he's loyal to his CNC. I said, no, your oath is to the Constitution, not to a politician. He kept quiet. But you see, that's why you saw that particular instruction of don't do anything until you hear from Abuja. That's why most of our young people in the army absconded. How can a soldier stay there and somebody shooting them and you say don't not engage until you get instructions from Abuja? No one else will give such instruction apart from politicians in Abuja. No one else will do such apart from that coming from the CNC. The chief of army staff won't listen to any low-level minister. No, he listens to the president. That's why whatever happened under Buhari is responsible. Whatever happened in the Buhari administration, I put it at his desk. So let us not create any arrangement for shifting of blames. Right. Buhari was not only fundamentally dishonest, he was deceitful, and he was irredeemably incompetent in managing Nigeria's diversity.
Dr. Charles, I was Dr. Charles, Dr. Kaj, rather, sounds almost the same. Talk me out to that question, because there are some that will say that is to you, that's your narrative. Where are the facts? Where are the evidence of calling him a dishonest person without capacity, all of those things? But it seems, Dr. Kaj, the president, immediately he took over, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said he was going to continue from where the policies, whatever the late President Muhammadu Buhari ended at that time, that it was going to continue. After 2 years, or maybe 2 years and some months, this biography came up. He reiterated that point and he maintained that Muhammadu Buhari, he described him in very glowing words and called him describe him in very positive light, which doesn't agree with whatever you have called Buhari on this program today or previously. I allow you to take a listen to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the man that he knew, Muhammadu Buhari.
Buhari was just a simple man, honest, respected, unassuming, and full of good sense of humor in his simplicity. In that spirit, let us reflect on the enduring pillars of President Muhammadu Buhari's legacy. First, humility. President Buhari preferred simplicity over ornamentation. He believed that a leader must first discipline himself before he can discipline a system. He lived modestly, and he carried the dignity of that modesty into power. Second, security. President Muhammadu Buhari recognized that security is the foundation of citizenship and prosperity. He invested in platforms and personnel, improved capacity across our armed forces, and pushed for reform that endured beyond headlines. He understood that safety requires protection, both in state and in its citizens. Third, with vision, he understood the importance of long-term thinking, constructing bridges, restoring railways, building roads, modernizing our airports, renewing critical infrastructure, while prioritizing maintenance and sustainability. Fourth, social justice. He believed in targeted social investment to ensure that the state did not ignore the poor and the vulnerable. These are the pillars of his legacy. But a legacy is given greater meaning when those who follow choose to continue what has been started. That is my duty, and I pledge that one today.
All right, Dr. Koch, you've just had Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who possibly knew him more than you do. There were party members, party chieftain. Before Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the president, he was the national leader of the party of which Buhari was the president. Everything he has said, that he just said 2 days ago, negates, opposes everything you have said about the man Buhari. And this is coming from somebody who had close interaction, working relationship for years with the man Buhari. He called him honest, called him somebody who has futuristic way of thinking. He highlighted many things that he has done, even talked about his motive for security. All of those is negate your description of the man Muhammadu Buhari. Where is the lie?
Good. Well, if you take Tinubu's rhetorics, which are political rhetorics, that's you. You can choose. It's just like those who were denying the killing in the country, the genocide, until the Americans came and went to Benue and they stopped the denial. Tinubu talks about sense of fairness for Buhari. Same Buhari who weaponized nepotism against Igbos. Same Buhari who started unknown gunmen across the East as a way of revenging, according to him, Ejidika's hardline action against Boko Haram. Since Tinubu came, haven't you noticed that the unknown gunmen covert operation has stopped? Because Tinubu stopped to continue federal funding for that. It was Buhari who started this jihad that we talked about. Me and you are witnesses to Nigerians have been killed like flies. Where is the sense of justice in whoever that initiated that kind of jihad? And this jihad is being perpetrated by elements of the Bola militias from Central African Republic, from Mali, from, aren't you hearing the current story of the Bororo Fulani being employed, and they were caught in Ilorin? How can you employ Bororo Fulani who are not Nigerians? These are all going to Buhari's legacy. Let us not take Tinubu's rhetorics as anything that you can take to the bank.
No,
rhetorics.
He said something similar. Dr. Kach, well, I mean, Tinubu said something similar May 29 when he took over. At that ball, you know, his inaugural ball, and said, I'm going to continue. And he described using those words. 2 days ago, that's 2 years after, he maintained that consistency.
Because he continued, that was why.
Please hold on, sir. He maintained that consistency and described him in something more, a very glowing tribute to the man, and he called him an honest man. You call Buhari a dishonest man, but somebody who worked with him closely said he was an honest man. That's the question here.
That is Tinubu's opinion. What Nigerians know about Buhari is he's a dishonest person. I come from a state that has the largest gas deposit in the whole of Africa. When the gas master plan was designed, my region, the Southeast, was also included in that master plan. When Buhari now started building the master plan in 2019, Buhari did not put any pressure pipe in any part of the Southeast. What kind of fairness is that? Don't you understand what I'm saying? I'm speaking from experience. Tinubu is speaking political rhetorics just to make him look good before Buhari's family and admirers. I don't do that. I speak to the truth of our lives. I speak to the truth of what we're experiencing. Buhari was nothing but evil personified. We have never ever had anybody like Buhari as president. A man who undertook the killing of Nigerians. A man who launched jihad on a scale never before seen in Nigeria's history. Me and you know very well that before Buhari came, there weren't a jihad like this. People weren't being killed this way. There were no Fulanis going to the Oyo Forest Reserve to try to take land to the extent that Sunday Igboho now had to bring his militia to push them back. There were nobody killing people in southern Kaduna on an industrial scale, as we saw. Hausas were now being killed in Basari, in Sapana, in Malumpashi, in Dutima, in Musa, in Karu, in Angobe, in Ensadawu. Thieves are not being wiped away from their homes in Benue State. Taraba State didn't suffer as they did. You know farmers cannot go to farms in Plateau State. What kind of legacy is that?
All right.
What kind of, do you want me to keep quiet? What kind of legacy is that? What legacy is that? A legacy of blood. That's what you want us to now lie about. Forget about that.
No, we just talked about your position on what Mr. President said and your opinions on the matter. Nobody's shushing you or to say you should not make your mind. Of course, no. But of course, Mr. the president had a position and you made a position. We are saying, are you not seeing it in that light? And you have made your point, Dr. Kach. Stop it.
All right, Dr. Kach, I'd like to ask you at this point, ultimately, how should Nigerians, interpret, this particular event now with this book? Should it be seen as a failure of an individual, to properly capture the essence of leadership? Or should it be seen as a failure, ultimate failure of our political system here in Nigeria?
You are calling it failure of political system. We know that Buhari engineered state capture. We know very well that it is due to that capturing of the state that we now had this jihad, that we now experience this amount of killing, and we now have seen that the government is complicit in the killings. If the government is not complicit, one question, why is the government maintaining the indigenous people in IDP camps and still keeping quiet, whereas foreigners are now occupying their homes and villages? These are the things me and you need to ask ourselves. What kind of government is this? This is not government. At the time when Buhari and APC came to power, our GDP was about 490 to 500 billion, thereabout to 590 billion. Today, it is 190. Look at how much we've fallen economically. Look at how we become sociologically a very divided community. Look at even what Buhari did in Lagos. He pushed the Yoruba, the same mistake that was done in the East after the Civil War. The state pushed abundant property as a way to divide the East. Under Buhari, they pushed the voter suppression in Lagos to divide the Yorubas and the Igbo. That happened under Buhari's rule. Under Buhari's rule, as a way to say, Yoruba, you want power, we'll give it to you, but attack these people. Under Buhari, there was voter suppression. People were not allowed to vote in Lagos State under Buhari's presidency. Let us not forget that. That further divides people of the South, so that next time you can come together. That's Buhari for you.
All right, Dr. Catch, I'd just like to ask you, just an enlightenment. Have you laid your hands on any of the, on a copy of this particular book, or an excerpt, perhaps?
I will not waste my time looking for it, because what the books are just, chapters of denials, trying to. I don't waste my time. All I have to tell you is be ready for more of it. You will see more people who say, "Hey, these things that they say happen. It's not Buhari. He didn't do it. It's the cabal."
Because
very good.
The follow-up to that question, if it had been affirmative, would have been that. Do you think that the book answered lots of questions that Nigerians would have wanted, answered, like the part on economy now? Many people saw the Buhari administration as the administration that brought a lot of woes, especially to Nigerians, on economy, like you have said, talking about the GDP. So I would have asked that if you had read the book.
I don't need to read the book to recount the truth of my life, of our life, of our country to you and your audience. I don't need to. I'm a living witness. So I'm not the person who will be moved by rhetorics. I'm a Nigerian and I know what happened. So with me and you are living witnesses to how the GDP was brought down from where it was to 990. So leave those things alone. Let them be saying their things, but we're here to tell the truth about how the shoe is on our foot.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Catch.
All right. Yeah, before you go, my parting shot actually is this. Do you see this actually? And it's your right actually to read a book or not, but some will say even when you think a narrative is not what it should be, it won't be a bad thing for you to just see through, but then it's your entire choice. But what we have heard and seen, the excerpt, the videos, the launch, some of those speeches at that launch of an event, do you see as an account or close-knit account of what transpired, during the tenure of the man Muhammadu Buhari, from, people that were closest to him, or you see it as an account of rewriting history? Do you see it that way?
No, it's not rewriting history. This is a pushback from the family who believe all blames are being heaped on Buhari. What she's trying to tell you and the author is that Buhari is not totally responsible for all the devilish things that are called. This happened, that happened. In some places, a cabal took away powers from him. But why I'm telling you that he's deceitful and fundamental dishonest was, despite this truth that this lady is now revealing, Buhari was telling us he was in charge. He was still telling us in the second term campaign that everything is fine. Even though we knew there was a cabal instrumenting this kind of dangerous things that we're now talking about. For me, I am happy that the war has receded. I'm also very happy for the pronouncement of President Trump, because if you notice, that has brought quite a lot of changes in the country. Just take what has happened in the country for the past 1 month. So, to tell you that a lot of things happened.
Yeah, Dr. Catch.
Our country was captured, and we lost it. Yes.
The autobiography of that has been written right now, it's an account, definitely some person's account. There have been some account before that, and so history is being written in our faces. More than 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu right now, do you think, in 1 minute, sir, do you think he's doing a better job than his predecessor, based on evidence? Dr. Kachi, did you hear me?
What I will tell you is, this is good try, but you're also going to hear more people right.
No, what it seems you didn't hear me, Dr. Kachi. I mean, this or whatever we are saying, or whatever we are still going to hear about the man Buhari is an account, and history has been written depending on who is saying it. Now, this is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, he's hitting his third year in office very soon. Based on the antecedents and this history of Buhari that we've had, and history being made in our own faces right now, do you think Tinubu is doing a better job?
Tinubu has recently been arrested by the American intervention. He has now, they've given him a marching order to reverse his continuation of Buhari's policy that have allowed the genocide to sustain. So let us see what's going to happen. Now that he said he will start doing a better job. Me and you know very well, economically, I'm not happy. Tinubu is not doing well. How could he be bringing the French to come and take over our tax data, our financial data? Tinubu is not governing. He has not been governing. He has been plotting for 2027. So that's where I am not happy with him. How do you expect me to be happy? Tinubu invited the French to take over governance of Nigeria vis-a-vis tax.
Those are serious.
How are we going to talk about that?
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Katch, for joining us on this morning conversation. Dr. Katch is a public affairs analyst and DJ Heritage Center. Thank you very much for being part of the conversation this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Femi, though that was a stretch of a conversation.
Yeah.
But then I've not laid my hands on the copy of the book, but and from what Dr. Charles was reeling out while he was, from that video that we saw, we didn't see an account. I was hoping that there would be an account of the answers, and to say who and who, since it was to answer
Dr.
questions.
Charles
who were those?
raised the account. Buhari's position, what were his orders for the answers? He said it.
He said it.
As well.
Okay.
And I'm not sure he could reel out all of those questions, waiting for answers in a stretch of 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Actually, I think everybody, do whatever works for you.
I think that it would be a good thing if we all can lay hands, on the book, or at least the soft copy of the book. So we can know answers, and we can also put our minds, like Dr. Katch said, that there will be pushbacks, from other people. There will be more accounts. So we can also know what angles where we'll be, expecting.
By the way, let me put a note of caution to you. You are talking about a soft copy. I'm sure the publishers will not want to hear that now. The book is just 2 days old. So scratch that. We didn't say that. Okay. All right. That'll be the size of this program. And, he ended by talking about, we'll still talk about in the course of the program, where there is an agreement between the Nigerian and French government on digitization of our tax in Nigeria. And the French have been brought in to be a part of the process. How many persons are weary? Why will you bring in the French on digitalizing our tax? And that means whatever financial records and all of those things is being handed over on a platter to France. And this weariness of our people about France and Tinubu's government, but that will not be a conversation about today. Femi Ojo is my name. I will see you tomorrow, God willing.
All right.
Have a nice day.
My name is Temitope Ajijola Oluola. See you again for the penultimate installment of Morning Spring. Bye.